Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Vintage Cube draft. Now, today, we don't have too many options for first picks. We opened a Tendrils, so like we could try and go Storm if Tendrils comes around. There's a Skull Clamp in this deck. There's a Mystical Tutor. There's an Underground Sea, which I would probably take if I was going to try and go Storm, just to have this as fixing, because there's like other black and blue decks you can play that aren't Storm. Like you can play Control, you can play Reanimator. You have a few different options. Or there's Prismatic Vista, which we could play in literally any deck that we would play. And I think this is the best pick. Until we know what's open, Prismatic Vista is probably the way to go. So I'm going to take Prismatic Vista over everything else there. Okay. In this pack, there's nothing that speaks to me as like immediately broken. There's Leovold, of course. There's a Workshop. There's a Crucible of Worlds. Revoker. So like we could try and do a Mishra's Workshop deck. I feel like I've drafted a lot of those lately. I could take Porcelain Legionnaire or Hex Drinker if I wanted to go aggro. There's a Savannah. There's nothing like... There's no obvious picks is what I'm trying to get at with this particular pack. I guess Revoker or like Crucible might be the most open pick. Hex Drinker is a very strong card, because you can just dump all of your mana into it after turn 1 and just like win with a 6/6 with protection from everything. I really like Revoker though. I'm going to take Revoker just because I don't know what I'm playing yet, and I can play this in a lot of different decks. There's a Smokestack. If Workshop comes all the way around, there'll be a Smokestack shortly behind it, which would be great. There's a Watery Grave. Blue and black are powerful colors to be in. There's a Thragtusk, a Mana Tithe. There's nothing I can take out of this pack and remain really, really open. So I think what I'm going to do is probably take Brazen Borrower here, because it's just a really strong card. I don't know that I'm playing blue, though. It's just blue is a powerful color, and I'm still seeing some blue cards. I could just take Watery Grave, actually. Yeah, I'm going to pick the fixing first this time. Until I see something that's like, I definitely want to do that. There's an Exhume. There is a Metalworker going around in this pack. I don't know if Workshop and Smokestack come around, but if they do, I'd kind of like to do that. Duress is quite powerful. I do have a Watery Grave. I think I just drafted Reanimator. I don't know, it's been a couple of days, because I've been busy. I think Exhume is the potential highest payoff out of this pack for us. Duress is otherwise a really strong card we can play in more decks. I'm going to take Exhume, though. If we start getting good Reanimator stuff, then, we can play Reanimator. There's a Volcanic Island. There's an Elish Norn. Memory Deluge, Emery. Emery is some self-mill if we were doing Reanimator shenanigans. Duretti is a really strong card. But I'm going to take Elish Norn. This is a very good Reanimator target. Okay. I really like Daze. Dismember is also good. If we're playing blue-black Reanimator, like, it's one of the stronger variants of Reanimator because you can back up your threats with counterspells, and Daze is an excellent way to do that. So, like, if we Entomb Elish Norn on turn 1, Exhume on turn 2, we can still have Daze to protect Elish Norn from, like, a Swords or something, potentially. So I think I'm going to take the Daze, and we're going to try and move in this direction. Now, it may not end up being open. We might have to do something else. And I'm seeing some green come around. And we did, I think, do like black-green Oath Reanimator, so I'm going to take Blooming Marsh as kind of a hedge in that direction, because I feel like black is probably what's going to be open. Okay. I don't think I'm reanimating Palancron. Sylvan Caryatid, Plow Under. Plow Under's fun. I'm going to take the Draw 7. Tendrils Wield. There's Dryad, which is fixing. Ignoble Hierarch, which is Jund-colored. Dork. So somebody took Mystical Tutor. I'm probably not playing a Tendrils deck. I'm gonna take Tendrils, though, just on a speculative direction. We could take Inkwell, because if we get like a Tinker and some Mana Rocks, we can either reanimate this or we can Tinker for it, which is a pretty reasonable thing to do. Makeshift Mannequin coming around tells me that Reanimator's probably open. Although this is one of the least popular reanimation spells. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Inkwell here. There's Heartbeat of Spring. I'll take a random Blood Chief's Thirst. Okay, so Storm is probably not open. I guess Kogla is something we could reanimate. Not a huge fan of it. I can take Emery. Emery is self-mill, and you generally, like, you want ways to get stuff into the grave. So we'll take an Emery. I guess I'll take a Questing Beast. And last pick, Sulfuric Vortex. People do not respect red. So, I'm probably not playing Tendrils, and I'm probably not playing Echo of Eons, though we could, right? Echo of Eons is actually somewhat interesting, because if we try and reanimate, and we have a bunch of discard outlets and it just doesn't work the first time around, we can just draw 7 and try again. Mox Jet is really good because it makes Entomb Reanimate possible on turn 1, Entomb Exhume possible on turn 2. There's nothing else in this pack that I like have to take. Talarian Academy would be nice if we got more Moxes, because then we could just like hard cast some stuff. Neither Mishra's Workshop nor Smokestack came around, so probably what ended up happening was somebody took Workshop, then immediately took Smokestack. I'm going to move Echo of Eons and Tendrils into the sideboard because we're probably not playing them at all. So there's a Time Twister, which I wouldn't mind that much. I think our picks are either Imperial Seal or Counterspell. I could take Nurturing Peatland as well. I'm going to take the Counterspell, I think, because I can play like a more control-y Reanimator deck. We already have Daze. We missed out on Makeshift Mannequin. I do tend to favor Tutors pretty high in Reanimator because they're very powerful. So here we have a few different options. We can take Dimir Signet. We can take Una's Prowler because we don't really have a discard outlet yet. Though Una's Prowler should come around. We can take Chupacabra as it's just like a decent removal spell that's also a creature. Or we can take Ancestral Visions. Generally with Reanimator, you try to do stuff quickly. I think I'm going to take Venser and try and play a more controlling deck. I could take Fractured Identity because this card is just bonkers. I probably should, but I'm going to take Venser. Okay, there's Bribery. Brain Freeze, Dragon's Rage Channeler, Lotus Petal. There's a Bayou if I do want to splash green. That would make it a lot easier. Then if we get a black fetch, we have all of our colors of mana. I'm going to take Bribery, though, because this card is super unfair, because a lot of decks try and cheat out an Eldrazi in some way, so you just 5 mana win the game. It's really boring, though, but I think this deck's going to need some help, so I'm going to take Bribery. Okay, we've got Bitter Blossom, Fatal Push, Ulamog, Kroxa, Emrakul. I'm actually going to go with 13 mana Emrakul here, because we can exhume that really easily. It's much harder to reanimate Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, especially if we don't have like sneak attack stuff to cheat it out if it's in our hand. So we'll try reanimating the thing that has protection from instants. There's a Rakdos Signet, which is a black Signet, or we can take a Simic Signet, which is a blue Signet. I do have Echo of Eons, so like Narset could be really good in a deck like this. I think Time Twister will have gotten picked up. On the other hand, taking one of these Signets helps enable like a Tinker option. The Signets get better because we have a Mox. I think I'm going to take a blue Signet. And this helps us splash green if we are going to splash green. Okay, so now there's a Putrid Imp, which if we're doing Reanimator stuff, it's a good discard outlet, so we'll take Putrid Imp. Waterlogged Grove, there's a Gaia's Cradle, but we have no dorks. Green Sun Zenith doesn't really help us at all. Mesmeric Fiend is good. I think I'm just going to take the fixing. Mesmeric Fiend is pretty powerful hand disruption in this format, but Talarian Academy came all the way around, as well as Vraska and Courser and Horizon Canopy. I'm going to take this, because if we get just like a couple of Signets, this can help us power out like an Inkwell Leviathan. Time Twister came around. Okay. Yeah, let's draft a weird deck. I'm down to do that. We'll take a Time Twister. If we are playing green, I wonder if Upheaval Reanimator is a thing. Yeah, it's effectively a Soul Ring. I'll take Snuff out, because it's good removal. Arbor Elf or Turnabout. We're not storming, so this is probably an Arbor Elf deck. Although we don't have any forests right now, no forest duels, because we didn't pick up Bayou. If we are doing Time Twister things, we may do Echo of Eons things as well. And this could be like Reanimator with the backup plan of just hard casting the things we're reanimating. Like, we can do that. It's Vintage Cube. Anything can happen. Avenger of Zendikar is not really a card worth reanimating, but, like, it can win games. And we get a random Circle of Dreams Druid. So it seems like green is open. So what are we looking for? We can take a Shallow Grave. We can take an Oath of Druids, though Oath of Druids kind of requires us to drastically edit this deck, because we'd have to cut, like, all of the things that aren't the top end. And as we saw, I think the last time I drafted this, Oath of Druids was kind of bad. Without, like, the biggest of the big creatures, right? Although in this deck we could play, like, counter spells to protect it, which would be nice. This might be a Shallow Grave situation, because we only have one reanimation spell, but we have none of the cards that are really good to Shallow Grave, because we took 13 mana Emrakul rather than Ulamog. We could take Mystic Confluence. This is just a really good control card. I kind of like that. There's a Remand. There's a Pack Rat. There's a Survival of the Fittest. Now, Survival of the Fittest is really a good reason to be splashing green, because we can ditch any creature card, which includes our Reanimator targets, and go get something we can actually play, or a different Reanimator target. So this is a really good Reanimator discard outlet. Once again, we still only have Exhume, though. I think I still take Survival over Remand here. There is a Bazaar. Bazaar is really good. Bazaar gets us through our deck really, really fast. Grist does some self-mill shenanigans. I think I'm going to take Bazaar. Okay, there's Eureka, there's Entomb, and Treachery, so like Sultai's open. I think I'm going to take Eureka. Now, normally I would really want Entomb here, but I only have one reanimation spell. Eureka is an alternate way to get these big threats onto the board. So we're going to take Eureka. Let's see, Darkslick Shores, Phantasmal Image, Brainstorm, Plain Swamp Forest. I think I'm just going to take the better mana. So we'll take the Darkslick. Strip Mine is the opposite of fun, but good. Scarab God is actually a reanimation spell, and I should probably have more than one if I'm playing a deck like this. Llanowar Elves would be good with like the Time Twister plan. Collective Brutality would also be good. I'm going to take the Scarab God. I need to be able to get stuff from the grave onto the battlefield, so that is a way to do it. This might be a regrowth deck. Maybe not really. I can take Devoted Druid, I guess. Satoru Umezawa is a way to cheat stuff into play, so we pretty much have to take this over anything else in this pack. I wouldn't mind Tovalar's Huntmaster. Yeah, I think what ended up happening with this particular draft is I did not go hard enough into a completely open lane early. Like, I don't think Reanimator ended up actually being open. I think I was probably supposed to take Workshop and try and do like an artifact thing. But like, we have powerful cards in the deck, right? We didn't get Tinker, so Inkwell is worse. It's still like fair to reanimate this card, because getting an early 7-power creature with Shroud and Trample that can't be blocked if your opponent has an island is, I mean, it's fairly decent. I can tell you that Arbor Elf is probably pretty bad, because we have like no forest duels at all. The cool thing about Eureka is, like, we can put a Venser into play, and if they put in something into play that's really scary, we can just bounce it with Venser. So it's kind of silly. Baral, Chandra, Garruk, Relentless. There's a Hangerback Walker, Shallow Grave. Okay, Shallow Grave came all the way around, and I have one reanimation spell, so I will take Shallow Grave. We might be able to use it as, like, a burn spell. We could bounce something or fight something with Venser or Kogla, respectively. Garruk Relentless, on the other hand, makes tokens, fights stuff, and is a Survival of the Fittest. I think I'm going to take a Garruk, because, like, we can just control the game and win. Pack Rat can win games by itself. If we accelerate it out with a Mox Jet, we can just start ditching stuff. So, I'm going to take the Pack Rat. So it's not really a Dig Through Time deck, but it's also not really any of these other cards either. I guess I will take a Dig Through Time. Okay, Hydroid Crisis is fair. We're not really ramping hard enough to make super good use of it, but, you know, it's something. Murktide Regent. We don't have a ton of instants and sorceries early, but I guess I'll put that in the sideboard. You never know when you could use another flyer. Elder Gargaroth, this card's actually reasonable enough to reanimate. It's not, like, game-ending, but it is high value, and we can kind of just play a Sultai control list. We have, like, 2 kill spells. Alright, let's see what we got here. I don't think it's anything too crazy. So Bazaar of Baghdad is going to be treated like a spell. I'm not playing Talarian Academy. I have nowhere near enough artifacts to make it good. Okay, what am I doing? I don't think I'm playing Emery. We're not super hard on the reanimating plan. We have some of it. Mox Jet will just be in place of a Swamp, probably. The weird thing about Moxen is, like, you can play them instead of lands, but generally you want to play them alongside lands, so you can do powerful stuff faster. Like, you know, Mox Jet land, Simic Signet turn 1's great. Untap and play like Garruk on turn 2 or Eureka on turn 2. This is probably not an Echo of Eons deck. Our best discard outlets are for creatures only, like Survival of the Fittest. We have some decent counter spells. A couple of okay removal spells. I think I mainly need to be cutting creatures. I have no forest duels, so I think Arbor Elf has to come out. Tree Speaker's okay. Devoted Druid's okay. Umezawa's good. Venser. Questing Beast is kind of weird in this deck. So I think I'm going to drop Avenger of Zendikar. I don't think this card's going to be good enough to reanimate, and we're not ramping hard enough to make it good. I think I'm also going to cut Kogla, but we'll see. We might actually need a Kogla in the deck. I'm going to also cut Krasis, and I need one more slot in this deck at least. I think I'm going to cut Questing Beast. Okay. Oh, I need to cut one more card because I'm going to play Bazaar like it's a spell. So, what's the worst in this deck? It might be Snuff Out. I don't know how much removal we're going to need, and we can kind of decide on a case-by-case basis. So Bazaar is a spell, and we have Blooming Marsh, Darkslick Shores, Prismatic Vista, Waterlogged Grove, Watery Grave, and a Mox Jet. We are running 0 plains. So if I ran 3 forests, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blue sources, which is nice because I have a lot of double blue. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black sources, which seems pretty reasonable, actually. Alright. Yeah, I think somebody else was in Reanimator because we really only got one super good Reanimator threat. We're playing Sultai stuff. I'll see you guys in round 1. Alright, well, we're on the draw. This is a fair hand, but we have slight acceleration into a possible bribery here, so I will keep. Opponent leads on a mountain into a Dragon's Rage Channeler. I have no choice but to play out this Uraga Tree Speaker. There's a really good chance it just immediately dies, but, you know, what can you do? Okay, opponent plays a Swamp. They attack for 1. We do not block. Opponent plays a Scrap Heap Scrounger. That's interesting. So we play a Darkslick Shores, level up Tree Speaker, and play Survival of the Fittest. So we can ditch Venser, get our biggest, scariest creatures, and then Eureka. That seems really good. Putting an Elishnorn into play against this board would be insane. Opponent attacks us for 4. They play a Forest, and they play Duretti. Okay, well, we can still Eureka even if we draw a land, but if they Bone Splinter, sacking Scrap Heap Scrounger to kill Uraga Tree Speaker, that would set us back a little bit. Okay, they put a Thoughtseize into the grave. Okay, so they do sack Scrap Heap Scrounger to kill Tree Speaker. We untap, we draw a Forest. So play a Forest, play a Mox, and I'm going to go with Garruk here. I can fight their guy to make our other Garruk. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do that. We can pass the turn. Any blue source lets us bribery. Any land, and we can ditch Venser for Elishnorn and probably win the game. Opponent's going to kill our Survival of the Fittest, I think, with Vraska. Because this represents us going and getting our best creature every turn. Every turn that we draw a creature, anyway. So they make a construct, and they're deciding what to do with Vraska. They could sack the construct to draw a card. Okay, they sack a land. They really want this construct around in case we make anything crazy. We draw a Watery Grave. So I think we're going to fire off Bribery, to be completely honest with you. I could, like, flash Venser and Survival of the Fittest with Garruk, but I really would like to Bribery first. Let's see what they got in their deck. This is a lot of information. We can get Braids. We can get Grist. Oh my gosh, we can get Grist. So now we can make a Wolf. And we can actually Bone Splinters to kill Vraska. We sack a Wolf. Kill Vraska. Oh man. Bribery hitting Grist. It is a creature in all other zones. So, that's awesome. Man, that's pretty nasty. So they sack to kill our Mox. They play Lurrus, which will let them play Dragon's Rage Channeler. Fair enough. We untap. We draw Bazaar. So make an insect, mill a card. Let's... I think we tutor for Elishnorn and then Eureka. Because they only have 2 cards in hand. And we know they don't have any huge threats. So sack the insect token. Get Elishnorn. And Eureka. Put Bazaar of Baghdad into play. Put Elishnorn into play. And I'll put Venser into play. Okay. Venser will bounce Dragon's Rage Channeler. It has flying, so... Okay, opponent, your move. That was a really good Eureka. If I draw a land, I could, like, sack Venser and get Gargaroth. Okay. Opponent replays Dragon's Rage Channeler. They make a construct, which is actually a Morbid trigger. Opponent was floating mana for something and decided against it. So we untap. We draw Mystic Confluence, which we can't cast because we don't have enough mana. K-Command, they're going to kill Grist and force me to discard. I mean, that's unfortunate, but, like, ultimately I think it's fine. I really would have liked to be able to cast Mystic Confluence, but they did destroy our Mox. They put a Mox Diamond into the grave. So we draw nothing, effectively. Yeah, I think we just uptick here. Make a Wolf. Go to combat. Kill Duretti. Okay, opponent untaps. Goblin Bombardment. You got it. They get to Surveil. They put a Witherbloom command into the grave. And they attack Garruk for 1. We draw a counterspell. So that's pretty much going to guarantee their death. Because they would need like a Damnation at this point to survive. Let's go ahead and attack them for 11. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent's going to Entomb. Bloodghast. Sure. Not scared of a Bloodghast. Aggro Entomb. Opponent plays a Nurturing Peatland. Gets a Morbid trigger. Puts Bloodghast on top of their grave. Sacks a Nurturing Peatland. Using up all their green mana. And the game is over. Alright. That was pretty cool. We did some interesting stuff there. This might be a matchup where Hydroid Krasis would actually be really good, but I think we just run it back. Good old Eureka. And hey, shout out to Bribery. Bribery for Grist is pretty good. I wonder when Blue is going to get the last part of the Bribery cycle, because they've got one that gets artifacts for 5 mana, which I think might be Acquisition, or something like that. It's from Mirrodin, because Mirrodin had, like, artifact plays on previously powerful cards, and they had a version of it that was effectively the same thing. This is really good. We will keep. Oh, we've got Survival of the Fittest and then Exhume Emrakul. I think we need to play around Wasteland Strip Mine if we can. But blue, I'm wondering if blue's going to get a bribery that's like, search target opponent's deck for a Planeswalker. Put that Planeswalker into play. Maybe Return to New Phyrexia will do it. Let's play a Swamp. Pass the turn. I should clarify that at the time of this recording, no such set exists or has been announced. So if I end up being like psychic into the future, you know, I called it at least a month in advance. Not to date this video, but okay. Opponent's going to Chrome Mox, exiling Grist. It's probably to play Duretti. Yep. Okay. So, reanimating Emrakul is not as good as previously, it would seem. So we'll play Survival. Pass the turn. We do need a way to deal with Duretti. Okay, opponent makes another construct. We can go get Venser. Venser bounced already, but then, like, they just replay it. Opponent's got a Vraska. They sack a construct to draw a card. We draw the Scarab God. So I think we shock Watery Grave and play Simic Signet. Pass the turn. Opponent goes to combat, attacks us for 2. We go down to 14. They sack Bloodghast. So activate. We'll ditch Emrakul. We can Phyrexian Revoker, but then they can just Vraska it. I think we're going to get Elishnorn here. Because Elishnorn stops them from making further tokens. The Chrome Mox is a little bit of a problem. And opponent plays a Braids. Sure. So we untap. We are going to ditch Elishnorn. Go and get Phyrexian Revoker. We have to sack our forest here, which is kind of sad. Draw Pack Rat. And then we will Exhume, getting Elishnorn, killing their board. Opponent will have to Bone Splinters using Chrome Mox to kill Elishnorn here. That Braids was quite punishing. Opponent plays a Smokestack. That's going to be a pain. They get a Bloodghast. They sack Bloodghast to draw a card. So Vraska is about to ult. And all I can do is cast Time Twister. I suppose I should. That doesn't really do anything. I'm just going to go ahead and scoop. Okay, so we need to be a little bit faster than that. Doing something. Let's run it back. Alright, well we've got Bizarre Exhume, so I think we gotta go for it. I'm gonna start with Swamp, and I'm probably gonna play out Devoted Druid before I start activating Bizarre. Though maybe I shouldn't. We'll see. I guess next turn I could play out Bizarre, and then if I draw Mox, if I draw like Big Threat Mox, we draw Eureka. I apologize for the dachshund barking. Let's play Bizarre, activate Bizarre. Okay. Put Elishnorn, Swamp, Eureka into the grave. Pass the turn. We're getting Thoughtseized. So they take Exhume, which is unfortunate. They have a Mox Emerald and a land. They play Bayou, and they play Dark Confidant. We draw Uraga Tree Speaker. So play Devoted Druid. Pass the turn. Next turn we can play Island, Tree Speaker, Time Twister. Opponent reveals a forest. Attacks us for 2. We take 2. They play a swamp. And they play Braids. So we untap. I'm going to sack Bazaar here. We draw Venser. Play an Island. Play Tree Speaker. Time Twister. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Reveals a Blood Crypt. Then has to sack a permanent. We can play Garrick next turn and just fight Braids. But we'll have to sack a permanent first. I'm probably going to sack Tree Speaker. Simply because there's almost no way my opponent doesn't have removal for him. For her, excuse me. They sack Confidant. So they assume Confidant's going to be a liability. Okay, opponent attacks us for 2, decides against it. Plays a Bloodghast. Bloodghast Braids is a pretty good combo. And so is Duretti. Alright. They kill Devoted Druid, which is very disheartening. So we are going to sack an island here, actually. I need this Uraga Tree Speaker for 1 turn because I don't have double green. So we play an island. We level up Tree Speaker. As long as they don't have Snuff out, I think we're fine. Then we play Survival of the Fittest. And we ditch an Inkwell Leviathan. Same plan. I think we go get Elishnorn. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent sacks Bloodghast. They play Relic. They're gonna Relic. We'll Relic away a Devoted Druid. They kill Relic to kill Tree Speaker. That's interesting. I guess I have to sack a land. If I draw a land, I can put Elishnorn into play. They're gonna Necromancy my Inkwell Leviathan. I guess that's good. They hit me for 2. Oh, I don't have to. I can do this now. So we ditch Elishnorn, and we go get Venser. Then we sack our forest. Draw. We draw an island. So play an island, and we exhume Elishnorn. So I think my opponent's best line now, because they know we have Venser, is to attack us for 5, and then Bone Splinters, like using their last counter on Duretti to kill Elishnorn. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to kill Elishnorn, and we're going to Venser away their Necromancy. So opponent attacks for 5. We take 5. Unless they have an artifact in hand that's non-creature. Yep, okay. So they knew we had Venser, and that was a way to deal with their guy. They play a Bloodghast. They sack Nurturing Peatland to draw a card. We untap. We draw a Swamp. So we can play a Swamp, and we can play Venser, or we can play a Simic Signet and play a Pack Rat. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, pass the turn. We know they're still holding a Blood Crypt. I'm not going to block here, even though the Bloodghast is going to gain haste. Okay, they play Vraska. Vraska kills Pack Rat, that's fine. They play Blood Crypt. We untap. We draw Eureka. We cannot cast Eureka. So, play Scarab God. Pass the turn. And then we can start reanimating stuff on our upkeep. Unless they have more removal, which is possible. Demonic Tutor, so they're going to go get their best card. Whatever it is. I'll have to go check on the Dachshund here in a minute. She's been pretty noisy for a bit. She's probably just upset. Because I think my father went out to do work, and she wasn't included in that transaction. Opponent may not have an answer. This is a long Demonic Tutor. So they're really thinking about what it is they can be doing here. Porter went up to check on her, and he's not very alarmed. So I think that comforted her knowing she's not home alone. Okay, they demonic tutor. They attack us for 2. I'm not gonna block. They could have a lightning bolt, and that would cause me to pick the Scarab God back up, but... Okay, opponent sacks Bloodghast. And they play Grist. They must have just drawn Grist, otherwise they would Bone Splinters to stop the Scarab God from activating. Oh, they have a land, okay. So they're gonna kill the Scarab God. Which returns to my hand at the next end step. And they play a Scrap Heap Scrounger. So we untap, we get the Scarab God back, we draw Putrid Imp. They can't Bone Splinters again, they can Abrupt Decay. I think I will have to block. Yeah, replay Scarab God, pass the turn. Okay, they uptick Grist, make an insect. There's not much I can think of in Jund colors in Cube that does 2 damage and not 3 from red. There's Firebolt, but that's about it. They Inquisition, so they can only take Putrid Imp, which is a little bit annoying, because I did want to play that alongside Reanimate next turn. Block here. And they play Smokestack. Okay. We untap, we sack nothing. We are going to Reanimate Elishnorn. Okay, the opponent loses 1 life and we scry 1. So I'm gonna put Bribery on the bottom, actually. We draw Dark Slick Shores, play Dark Slick Shores, go to combat, and I need to kill Grist here. Because Grist is the only thing that threatens our creatures at the moment. Pass the turn. Duretti's in the grave. So they set it up to sack 0 permanents, and they tick up Smokestack. They cannot Abrupt Decay Elishnorn because she does have a mana cost, even though she's a token. Tokens retain all properties of the cards that they are copying if they are a token copy. Opponent taps a forest, sacks a forest, draws a card, and gains a life. I can Scarab God Grist? That's interesting. I want to know what happens if I Scarab God Grist. It would have Summoning Sickness, and I couldn't activate its loyalty abilities, because it's a 4/4 zombie in addition to all of its other types. Yeah, I want to see what happens if I do that. I'll probably be sacking Survival of the Fittest here. There's nothing with haste, so I can't just win. I guess Bloodghast would have haste if my opponent lost 8 life somehow. Black and green. Opponent could have, like, Assassin's Trophy or something. Witherbloom command. They're going to kill my green mana, mill themselves, and put a land in their hand. They picked up Nurturing Peatland. Okay, they play Nurturing Peatland and get a Morbid trigger. I mean, not having green mana is annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, they sack Nurturing Peatland to draw. And opponent passes. So we untap, Smokestack, sack Survival, activate, and Reanimate Grist. I really just want to know what happens. Oh, they're going to K-command, okay. Dang it! They're picking up Grist. We do not get it. Opponent loses a life. We get to scry. Swamp to the bottom. We draw Prismatic Vista. I will not... I will be playing it, because I'm probably just going to sack it. So we go to combat. Hit our opponent. Hit our opponent. They go to 6, and we pass the turn. So opponent's going to have to sack a permanent here. And they can tick Smokestack up to 2 if they want. I could possibly Reanimate Bloodghast for lethal if I had to sack the Scarab God or something. Okay. Opponent sacks a land, or they sack Smokestack actually, and they scoop. We got there. I'm going to take a brief break, check on the dog, and I'll be right back. There appears to be nothing wrong upstairs, so everything is fine. Alright, we're on the draw, so I think this is a F6 through turn, discard Emrakul, land Mox Exhume hand. Play a Signet, please. Oh, dang. Okay, we drew Bazaar, so play Bazaar, pass the turn. Let's go ahead and activate Bazaar, see what we draw. Draw Inkwell, discard Island, and Swamp. Draw Darkslick Shores, so play Darkslick Shores, play Mox. Let's go for it. Exhume. Ancestral Recall themselves. And they have a miscalc. Okay, well, we tried. So now we're going to have to just play fairly, I suppose. Dang, counter spells. I suppose I should have probably just gone for it on turn 2, but we'll play a Swamp. We will play Satoru, which hopefully might draw another counter spell, because we have nothing good in our hand at the moment. Pass the turn. Ah, ye old Caracas. You got it. Man, if this is an Ancestral Recall-powered control deck, we are in a world of hurt right now. I'm going to activate Bazaar again. Satoru is not going to be that useful here. So I think we ditch Satoru, Uraga Tree Speaker, and Island. Draw Devoted Druid. Play Waterlogged Grove. Play Garrick. Oh no, this is like our worst matchup. Mono counter spells. So now I need to have like days backup if I'm going to try and combo. Combo Reanimate, I mean. Okay, opponent plays Glenalandra Archmage. So we can Phyrexian Revoker, naming Glenalandra Archmage. And then play Devoted Druid. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a land. They stomp Revoker. It's not looking good for us. They attack us for 2. 5 mana. Time Warp. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've lost. And they have Caracas, so like Emrakul the Promised End isn't even good. Kiki Jiki. Okay. Oh, this is the actual nightmare matchup. Play Gargaroth, playing around Days. Pass the turn. But I mean, if they've got Pestermite, it's just game over. Or Zealous Conscripts. Yeah, alright. Alright, you got us. That's unbelievably brutal. I guess I want Snuff Out and like maybe a Krasis. I'm gonna actually cut Emrakul because Caracas makes this card so bad. And I'm actually gonna cut Satoru and we're gonna play a little bit differently. We're probably not going for the combo Reanimate. We'll play first. We have Daze, we have Elish Norn, and nothing else, so this is a mulligan. I mean, it's possible Pack Rat gets there. I'm gonna put back Bazaar, and we're gonna lead on Watery Grave tapped. Pass the turn. I will probably concede to a Wasteland, unless I pretty immediately top deck more mana. Opponent plays an island. Portent themselves. Alright. We untap. They draw a card. We draw Moxjet. Okay. Well, Moxjet's something. Play a Blooming Marsh. Play a Moxjet. Play Pack Rat. Pass the turn. Make them think I've got a Spell Pierce or something. They play a Mountain, and they have a Burst Light. Alright. We untap. We draw a Swamp. Play Garrick. Alright, make a wolf. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Caracas. We untap, we draw Devoted Druid. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent takes 2, goes to 18. Make a wolf. And Phyrexian Revoker. Kiki Jiki. Pass the turn. Opponent flashes in a Pestermite. Tapping down my blue mana. Okay. They untap, they play a land. 4 mana. Splinter Twin? I was supposed to name Pestermite? Oh! Alright, yeah. No, we just absolutely got stomped. Pestermite Splinter Twin. Feels bad, man. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, we are mulliganing for round 3. This hand is not keepable. Bazaar of Baghdad, Exhume, Emrakul. We will keep. I'm going to put back Pack Rat, and I'm going to lead on Bazaar. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Ketria Triome. Activate Bazaar. Discard Emrakul, Forest, Island. We untap. Draw Satoru. Play Blooming Marsh. Pass the turn. I guess maybe I should have gone like land, Bazaar, activate. Opponent plays a Gruul Signet. We draw an island. Play an island. Exhume. Pass the turn. We have a 13/13 with protection from instants. Opponent plays a Scrubland. Plays an Omnath. We untap. We draw a Mystic Confluence. Play a Waterlogged Grove. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for a little more than half their life total. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a land, gains life. I mean, as long as they don't have, like, Nahiri, I'm not sure how they kill Emrakul. Alright, we got there. Reanimate Emrakul. You know, Bazaar of Baghdad tells me I probably actually should have Echo Vions in this deck to, like, reload and try again, because I only have 1 reanimation spell. But you know what? We're just gonna run it back. We're having fun. Alright, game 2, we will be mulliganing once again. And we have a discard outlet. We have an Inkwell. We have all of our colors of mana. I think we can do better on 5, though. Alright, I mean, we don't have black mana. I'm going to put back Inkwell and Scarab God. And we're going to hope to draw black mana. Maybe I should have kept Pack Rat Scarab God, but... Opponent leads on Misty Rainforest. Gets a Stomping Ground. And plays a Ragavan. Alright. They have a Ragavan. We play a Forest. Pass the turn. We take 2. They make a treasure. They exile an island. They Ancestral Recall themselves off of Ragavan. Something tells me they did not have a second land. Man, I wish we had a deck that... Or I wish we had, like, Swamp Bloodchief's Thirst in this hand to actually deal with this. Okay, opponent plays a Plains into a Mother of Runes. We draw not a Swamp. Play an island. Pass the turn. Opponent attacks us for 2. We take 2. They make a treasure. They exile a counterspell. Well, at least we're not top-decking a counterspell, I guess. Elite Spellbinder. Get to look at our hand, see what a terrible hand we kept. Okay, they're going to make Pack Rat a 4-drop. We draw Mystic Confluence. Play an island. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, shocks Hollowed Fountain. Plays Hana and Elena. Or Helena and... Halana and Elena. Oh my gosh. Words are hard. We take a ton of damage. They get a Bloodchief's Thirst. Nothing to cast it on. Alright. Let's go ahead and concede. Alright. Run it back for game 3. Let's go. Alright. We'll play first. I mean, we have Bazaar. We can ditch Inkwell and Satoru, and then maybe Time Twister if everything goes wrong. I guess. Sure. Play Bazaar. Immediately activate. I guess that's a Putrid Imp. Ditch Leviathan, Garrick, and Satoru. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Polluted Delta, passes. We draw Bloodchief's Thirst. Play Darkslick Shores. Pass the turn. I'm probably going to need cards in hand to just ditch to Bazaar, trying to find Exhume and another land. So I'm not going to play anything else out. I'm playing a very different game than what I normally recognize as Magic the Gathering. Opponent fetches up a scrub land. And they have a Blooming Marsh. They play Intrepid Adversary. Okay, we can kill that with a Blood Chief's Thirst. Are they just like 5-color aggro? It's kind of what it looks like at the moment. Okay, we found green mana. Kind of want this land. Get rid of Putrid Imp. I can keep green mana and survival. It's not really necessary at this point. I think I get rid of Prismatic Vista. Okay. Untap. We draw Bribery. Play a Forest. Kill Intrepid Adversary. Pass the turn. Could have played out a Pack Rat, but I didn't. That is annoying. I mean, if I was in their position, I could take Time Twister. But Time Twister is probably good for them at this point. They have red, green, black, and white in their deck, and evidently a very non-zero amount of white, considering we've seen Intrepid Adversary, Elite Spellbinder, and Mom. Yeah, they take Time Twister. I think at this point we just need an Exhume. Ditch Emrakul, Bribery, and Simic Signet. We draw Forest. Bazaar. I think we're ditching Forest, Forest, and Pack Rat. Just trying to dig to my Singleton Exhume, which probably means I shouldn't be playing out Waterlogged Grove. But I'm actually going to sack it to draw here, unless my opponent, like... No, I guess I'm sacking it to draw pretty much regardless. We've gone through half our deck and not found it. Okay, opponent goes to combat. They attack for 3. Take 3 and go to 17. Liliana of the Veil. That's a problem. Okay, new plan. We have to start playing lands and cast a Time Twister. Okay, it's a land. We're only 1 mana away from Time Twister. Pass the turn. We're not under an immense amount of pressure yet. Get hit for 3, go to 14. 5 mana. Pest Infestation, make a bunch of 1/1s. Okay. We are dead in 2 swings. So we really need to top deck a land for Time Twister. Them having Liliana means anything that's huge that we can put on the board just dies to Liliana downtick. It's a land, but it's tapped. Sack Waterlogged Grove. Tree Speaker, activate Bazaar. There's Elishnorn. Okay, well, Reanimate Elishnorn will get us to not die in 1 turn. So we need to dig with Bazaar to try and find Exhume. We have 3 draws next turn to find Exhume to stay alive. Oh, actually we don't, because our opponent... I should have played out this Blooming Marsh, because our opponent can just uptick and make us discard it. And then Bazaar can't dig us to Exhume. They're going to mill us, drain us. Oh, no, okay, they milled themselves. We ditch a Blooming Marsh. They lose an Arbor Elf. We go down to 5. Top deck Exhume? That keeps us alive. Yeah, unfortunately, Phyrexian Revoker does not do it. Well, that's the problem with playing Reanimator and only having 1 reanimation spell. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to my channel, and remember you can follow me on Twitch, the same username over there as you find me on here. I tend to stream about once a week right now, but I'm looking to increase that number. Hopefully after I get the housing situation sorted out, which may or may not be sorted out by the time this video comes out. So make sure to follow so you can figure that out. And if you want to contact me directly, Discord's the best way to do it. Link to my Discord and Patreon is in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. You're all wonderful human beings. Bye!